Welcome back to the Deep Dive. So, it is February 3rd, 2026.
It is.
And while the calendar might say it's a Tuesday, let's be real. If you have a TV, a radio, or, a pulse, it is officially Super Bowl week.
The clock is ticking. Yeah, we are exactly 5 days out from Super Bowl 60?
60? That is a lot of Roman numerals.
It is.
And, usually right about now, all the talk is about defensive line rotations or which quarterback has the momentum. But this year, it just feels different.
It does.
The real tension isn't on the field. It feels like the entire cultural conversation is just laser focused on that halftime stage.
It really is. Because this Sunday, February 8th, Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio, who we all know as Bad Bunny, he becomes the first solo Latino artist to headline the show ever.
And I want to pause on that for just a second, because on paper, it looks like a standard victory lap, right? Yeah. Pop star gets the biggest gig in America, plays the hits, everyone's happy. But we've been digging through the sources you brought in, the Spotify data, the ID magazine interviews, all the political reporting from last year. And this doesn't feel like a victory lap.
No.
It feels more like a standoff.
It's absolutely a collision course. And that, I think, is our mission for this deep dive. We're not here to guess the set list or, talk about pyrotechnics.
Right.
We need to figure out how an artist who spent all of last year basically boycotting the U.S. touring circuit suddenly agrees to play America's biggest corporate stage.
It's a huge contradiction. You have a guy who refuses to sing in English, refuses to tour the States, and then boom, he's the face of the NFL's biggest night.
And to understand that, you have to look at how he reclaimed that title of biggest pop star on earth in 2025 without playing by a single one of the old rules. Especially
with all the noise around this one performance. I mean, we can't ignore it. Former President Trump called the choice absolutely ridiculous. He even claimed he didn't know who Bad Bunny was, which, given the election cycle we just had, feels like a very pointed comment.
It's hard to separate it from the context. Bad Bunny was so vocal during the Puerto Rican elections, and after that infamous floating island of garbage comment back in 2024.
At Madison Square Garden.
Yeah. He really drew a line in the sand after that.
So let's rewind. How did we even get to this point? We have to go back to the start of 2025. Because that year was just a weird year for the music industry.
It was a total anomaly. If you look at the standard pop star playbook, it's very rigid.
Yeah, there's a formula.
There is. You release a massive album like On Verano Sin Ti was, and then you tour. You hit every stadium in America. You go to Europe. You just extract as much money as you can from the big Western markets. That's what you do.
And Benito just didn't.
He did the exact opposite. He released Debí Tirar Más Fotos in January 2025, broke all the streaming records again. We're talking 19.8 billion streams, taking that crown right back from Taylor Swift. And then he announced he wasn't coming to the States.
I remember the rumors when that happened. Everyone thought, oh, he's burnt out, or maybe he's sick, or he just wants to relax. But we found this interview he did with ID magazine where he just lays it all out.
Yeah.
And it wasn't burnout.
No, it was fear. But not for himself. His words were, ICE could be outside.
ICE, as in Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
Yes. He looked at the political climate in 2025, the ramp up in deportations and raids, and he basically realized that gathering 60,000 Latinos in a stadium in Texas or Arizona
might be putting a target on their backs.
It could literally be setting a trap for his own fans. He said he couldn't guarantee their safety, so he stayed home.
That is just a staggering decision. I mean, think about the money. You're walking away from hundreds of millions of dollars in ticket sales. Most artists, even the most socially conscious ones, they wouldn't leave that on the table.
In the short term, yeah, it's a huge loss. But this is where you realize Benito's playing a different game entirely. Instead of a world tour, he did a residency.
No me quiero ir de aquí. I don't want to leave here.
30 shows. All at El Choli in San Juan.
All of them.
So if you wanted to see the biggest artist in the world in 2025, you had to get on a plane and go to Puerto Rico.
Correct. And that just flips the entire economic script.
How so?
Well, usually a global star extracts money from a local economy, right? Fans buy tickets. That money goes to a promoter in like Los Angeles or New York.
Right.
By staying home, he forced the global tourism economy to pump money into Puerto Rico.
Do we have any, actual numbers on that?
The estimates are that the residency generated somewhere between $200 and $400 million for the island's economy.
Wow. $200 to $400 million.
Yeah. That's hotels, that's restaurants, taxis, local shops, everything.
It's like an economic stimulus package disguised as a concert series. Exactly. It's a total reversal of the colonial economic model. He refused to be an export. He made the world come to the source.
And when they got there, the music they heard wasn't exactly what they might have expected, was it? Let's talk about the album, Debbie Tirar Mas Photos. I should have taken more photos.
This is the other huge piece of the puzzle. If you were expecting, polished, synth-heavy global pop or even the trap beats from his early stuff, you were probably confused.
It was a hard pivot.
A very hard pivot back to his Afro-Caribbean roots. We're talking salsa, bomba, and plena.
Okay, so for listeners who might just know the big radio hits, what does that shift actually sound like?
It sounds organic. It sounds like drums.
Yeah.
Like real percussion. Bomba and plena are percussion-driven genres born in the sugarcane fields and coastal towns of Puerto Rico.
Okay.
It's the music of resistance, of daily life. It's call and response. It is like the opposite of something designed for a TikTok algorithm.
It's roots music in the truest sense of the word.
It really is. And the sources say he actually took salsa lessons to prepare for it.
Wait, really? The biggest pop star on the planet went to dance class?
He did. He was taking lessons with his friends to, get the footwork right. He treated the genre with this incredible reverence. He didn't just sample it. He became a student of it.
That is such a flex. It's like saying, I'm so big I could make the entire world listen to my grandfather's music. But then, just to keep everyone guessing, while he's doing this deep cultural dive, he shows up in Happy Gilmore too.
I know. That dropped on Netflix in July?
Yeah. So one minute he's dancing traditional bomba in San Juan. The next he's on a golf course with Adam Sandler. It feels so random.
It seems random, but I think it's actually really strategic.
Okay, yeah.
It shows his range. It shows he can navigate the Hollywood machine. He's friends with Sandler. He gets that massive Netflix distribution. But he doesn't have to become Hollywood to do it. He's not playing some stereotype. He's just playing a version of himself.
And that ability to walk between those two worlds, the barrio and the blockbuster, that's all because of his business structure, isn't it? We have to talk about Remus.
We do.
Because none of this happens, not the boycott, not the genre shift, if he's signed to a major label.
Oh, impossible.
Yeah.
If he was signed to Sony or Universal, there's a board of directors somewhere. And that board needs to see Q3 profits to keep the stock price up.
Right.
They would never, ever allow their biggest artist to just boycott the entire U.S. market because of politics. They probably sue him for breach of contract.
So how does he get away with it?
It's all Remus Entertainment. It's an independent label, and they have what's called a service deal with the Orchard.
Okay, break that down for me. What's the difference between a service deal and a normal record deal?
Okay, think of it like owning a house versus renting. In a traditional deal, the label owns the house, your master recordings, and they basically pay you an allowance to live there. With a service deal, Benito owns the house, he owns his masters, he just pays the Orchard a fee to do the distribution.
So he's the landlord.
He is the landlord. He keeps all the creative control, and that's the key. His business independence is what funds his activism. He can afford to say no to a tour because he isn't in debt to some big conglomerate.
Which brings us to the whole culture war part of this. Because you can't talk about Bad Bunny in 2026 without talking about language. And there was that moment on SNL back in October that it seemed to rattle a lot of people.
The monologue.
He just looks dead into the camera and says, you have 4 months to learn Spanish.
Hey, it was such a brilliant power move. I mean, think back to the whole Latin explosion of the late 90s. Ricky Martin, Shakira.
Enrique Iglesias.
Exactly. To conquer the American market, what did they all have to do?
They had to sing in English. Live in La Vida Loca, whenever, wherever. It was the price of admission.
It was. The industry demanded that you assimilate. You had to meet the American audience where they were. Bad Bunny is just operating on a totally different paradigm.
He's forcing the audience to cross over to him.
Yes. And when he sets a deadline, 4 months, he's framing Spanish not as like a barrier to entry for the music, but as a prerequisite for participating in the culture.
And people actually did it. We saw all that reporting about Duolingo streaks spiking, fans posting videos, studying so they'd be ready for the Super Bowl.
It creates this new kind of cultural capital. If you don't understand the lyrics, you are the one on the outside. You're the one missing the joke.
Speaking of meaning, let's talk about the emotional weight of this. Debbie Tirar Mas Photos, that title. It's not a party album title. There's a real sadness to it.
There is. And it connects so deeply to the collective psyche of Puerto Rico right now. You have to look at the stage design for his residency shows.
Okay.
It was a little pink house, a casita. Yeah. It's a typical countryside home. But in the context of the housing crisis in Puerto Rico, the gentrification, those Act 60 tax laws pushing locals out, that pink house becomes a symbol for an endangered species.
It's that feeling of, I need to take a picture of this now because it might be an Airbnb next year.
Precisely. There's a word for it, solastalgia, the distress caused by environmental or structural change to your home. When he sings El Apagon, he's screaming about the power grid failing and the beaches being sold off. He's dancing, but he's dancing through a very real, very present threat.
And he's doing it while wearing, well, whatever he wants to wear. A skirt, a floral train. The fashion's a big part of this, too.
The fashion is integral. You remember the Mataron Alexa skirt on Fallon years ago?
Of course.
Yeah.
Protesting the murder of a trans woman on the island.
Right. So reggaeton has historically been this hyper-masculine space. Machismo is baked right into the DNA of the genre. And Bad Bunny just completely disrupts that. But he does it in a really specific way. He mixes that high-fashion, gender-fluid look with what people call the Hibero aesthetic.
Hibero, that's the countryside farmer, right?
Exactly. The agricultural worker, the straw hat, the pava, the socks with sandals. He's basically saying, you can be from the working class, you can be a tough guy, and you can also wear a skirt by Jacquemus. He's expanding what a Puerto Rican man is allowed to look like.
And this is where we have to get into the complicated part. Not everyone feels that Container is being expanded fairly. We have to talk about the colorism controversy.
We do. It's the elephant in the room, and the sources we looked at, Medium, Time, they are very clear on this. There is a valid ongoing criticism about blancamiento, the whitewashing of reggaeton.
Because at the end of the day, Bad Bunny is a light-skinned white-passing man.
Correct. And reggaeton is black music. It comes from dance hall, from Panama, from Afro-Puerto Rican communities. The criticism is that the industry, and by extension the Super Bowl, is comfortable crowning a light-skinned guy as the king, while the black pioneers who built the genre never got those same shots.
And he has been asked about this directly. He doesn't ignore it. We have the transcript from his Time interview where he addresses it.
He did, and I think his response was really important. He acknowledged Tego Calderón, an Afro-Puerto Rican legend, as the real biggest singer in the genre, but he also admitted, quote, he hasn't lived the experience of having doors closed because of his skin color.
He said it would be irresponsible for him to claim he understands that kind of racism.
Which is an honest answer, but for a lot of critics, that just highlights the privilege. He can be an ally, he hires diverse dancers, he speaks out, but his very presence at the top is, to some, proof that the system still prefers whiteness.
So as listeners, we kind of have to hold two truths at once. Bad Bunny is breaking huge barriers for Latinos, but he's also benefiting from a racial hierarchy that still exists within that community.
Exactly. It's not black and white, it's complex.
Okay, so let's pivot to the final paradox. The Super Bowl itself. We've established he doesn't need the money.
No.
We've established he feels U.S. politics are hostile to his people.
Uh-huh.
So why say yes? Why play this halftime show?
It's the $0 question, right? Because they don't get paid for the performance.
It's just an exposure gig. But does Bad Bunny actually need exposure? He beat Taylor Swift in streams.
Not for his bank account, no. He needs it for the message. I think you have to see this through the lens of strategic utilization. It's that idea of using the master's tools.
Explain that.
By performing at the Super Bowl, he's getting access to the single largest media platform in the entire Western world. If he goes out there and he performs Bomba and Plena, these Afro-Caribbean rhythms, in front of 100 million Americans.
He's making a statement.
He's making a statement that Puerto Ricans are Americans.
It's a direct rebuttal to the floating island of garbage comment.
It's a direct, visceral rebuttal. It's saying, we are here, we are part of this country's fabric, and you are going to dance to our rhythm, whether you like our politics or not. If he boycotts the show, he's just absent. If he takes the stage, he controls the narrative.
And he's backing that up with actual investment, too. We should mention his ownership of the Los Cangrejeros.
The basketball team. Yeah, this connects right back to the whole staying home theme. The Good Bunny Foundation, his investment in the team. They aren't just vanity projects. They're about creating reasons for Puerto Rican kids to stay on the island.
Taking that brain drain.
Exactly. If you build sports facilities and arts programs and viable businesses, you fight against the pressure to emigrate. It's really nation building disguised as celebrity philanthropy.
So when we zoom all the way out, what are we looking at here? We have an artist who basically broke the touring industry, changed the language of global pop music, and is staring down the American political machine from a stage in San Juan.
I think Bad Bunny represents a totally new archetype. I've been calling it the anti-crossover star.
The anti-crossover, I like that.
Well, think about it. He became the biggest artist in the world, not by diluting his identity, but by concentrating it. He protected his community from ICEs by staying home. He forced the global market to dance to a salsa beat. He's proof that in the streaming era, you don't have to water yourself down to reach the masses. Niche is the new mainstream if your niche is authentic enough.
And if that niche happens to have billions and billions of streams.
That part definitely helps.
So here's the thought I'm left with as we head into Sunday. If Bad Bunny can generate this much influence, headline the Super Bowl, all without compromising his language or his politics, is the old American concept of the melting pot dead?
It might be. The melting pot always implied that we all had to melt down into one single thing. Maybe we're finally entering an era where you don't have to become American to lead American culture. You can just remain fully yourself, and the culture bends toward you.
Something to think about while you're dipping your chips this Sunday. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive. We'll see you on the other side of the halftime show.